Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Aoife and this is Under the Avo Tree. Today's class we're going to focus on giving ourselves a little bit of love, a bit of nourishing and a bit of kindness. So it will be a great practice if you're feeling a bit down or a bit low, a bit blue, or if you're a girl, a woman, like if it's the time of the month and you're just feeling a bit bleh. This will be a really nice practice for that. So we're going to focus on moving slowly and gently and just being extra kind for yourself as you go through the practice, asking yourself, how can I be kinder to myself in this moment? How can I, in this pose, be more nourishing to myself? How can I approach it? Maybe it means softening a little bit. Maybe it means holding the strength a little stronger, whichever version it is that you need today. So we're going to get started on our backs. Oh, before we get started, if you have a yoga block, just run off and grab that now, have it handy. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use a cushion. Just towards the end of the class, we'll use it for a supportive bridge, which is so lovely and nourishing. Be a lovely way to end off our class. So I'm just going to pop mine to the top of the mat for when I need it later. And then we're going to come onto our mats. Now, if you need a blanket or anything for the beginning when we're not moving so much, also grabbing that. We're going to lie down. Let the arms come onto the belly, the hands come onto the belly, taking the feet as wide as the mat and letting the knees fall into touch. We can close down the eyes here. And just rest here for a few moments, just arriving into our practice, giving us a beat to just let go whatever has just happened or whatever has gone on throughout the day leading up to now. Try to soften through the shoulders, tucking the chin ever so slightly towards the chest so the back of the neck is nice and long. Just feeling the breath. Inhaling, exhaling with the hands resting on the belly. Feel that gentle movement of the hands as the belly fills up and the belly empties. Taking the attention along the inhale as it enters the body, traveling to its final point of the destination, and then moving with the breath all the way as it leaves the body. If you get distracted by thoughts at any point, it's completely normal. It's what human brains are designed to do. So each time that happens, just gently noting, I'm thinking, and then taking the attention back to the breath. The more often we do this, the easier it gets over time. Now just taking a moment to set an intention for this practice. So like I said at the start, maybe an intention of asking yourself, how can I be kind to myself throughout this practice? What is it that I need from this practice? And you don't need to have an answer to that. Maybe it will just automatically pop up in your head. Maybe throughout the class it will pop up or kind of subtly come to the surface. Or maybe it won't at all. Maybe it'll be later in the day, and the following day, that you might realise just one thing that you could do to be kinder to yourself. But holding this intention throughout the practice just gives the space for your mind, your inner wisdom to find that answer. And now with that intention set, we're going to just take the arms around the shoulders, giving yourself a little hug here. Just squeezing the arms around the upper body, maybe giving yourself a little massage with the fingers on the back, taking any little wiggles that you might want as well. And you can release the arms. You can keep the hands back on the hips and just dropping the knees over to the right. You can keep your eyes closed here. Or if you want, you can open, just gazing up to the ceiling. And then we'll drop the knees all the way over to the left. And we'll do that with some movement, matching the pace with your breath. So inhaling through center, exhaling over to the right. Inhaling through center, exhaling to the left. Shoulders are relaxed on the mat as you inhale through center, exhale over to the right. Inhaling through center, exhaling to the left. We'll do one more each side, releasing any tension from the jaw or the face. Inhaling through center, exhaling to the side. Inhaling through center and exhaling all the way over to the left. Inhale back to center. Now you can extend out that right leg. We'll bring in the left knee, squeezing it in nice and close. Again, relaxing the shoulders, maybe rolling them under the back. The shoulder blades rolling under the back. Squeezing in the knee. And you can take some circles with the ankle here. Going one way, and after a few rounds, circling the opposite direction. We're going to release the left hand in onto the mat. You can take it out along beside you or into a cactus arm, keeping the right hand under the knee, and you're going to guide that knee all the way over to the right. So you're twisting through the spine here. You can keep the gaze up to the ceiling or take it over to that left hand. Now that knee doesn't need to touch the mat. You can see that like mine is nowhere near it. But I'm still getting that stretch into the glute, that twist through the spine. We want the shoulders to be grounded on the mat. So if you're pushing the knee all the way to the mat, but you see that the left shoulder is lifting, just gently lifting that left knee away from the mat. We'll do two more breaths here. In through the nose, out through the nose. One more time. Exhale, come back through center, maybe squeezing the knee in just for a second, and then extending that leg nice and long, drawing in the right knee. So again, doing some circles with the ankle, maybe taking them, or not maybe, but taking it the opposite direction. Squeezing in that knee. You can release the right arm out to the side, take the left hand to the outside of that right knee, and direct it, guide it over to the left. Again, right shoulder is staying grounded on the mat. You can take the gaze over to the opposite, to the right hand, so the opposite direction of the knee. Just feeling how the body is responding to this, how you can feel throughout the spine, how the outer glute, the hips, just noticing the sensations in the body. Do one more inhale. Exhale, come back to center, squeeze that knee in one last time, extending it out long. Maybe you need to give the hips a little wiggle out before bringing both knees into the chest now, squeezing them close. Take the hands behind the knees and we're going to roll forward and back along the length of the spine. We'll do this a few times and taking it nice and slowly. We'll do one more time. Bringing us all the way up to seated, and if that's not for you, just rolling over to your side and bringing yourself up, and then we're going to come around to our tabletop position. So our shoulders are over the wrists, hips are over the knees, tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. We're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow here, working through the length of the spine. So inhale, sticking the bum up to the ceiling, dropping the belly down, looking forward, maybe taking the gaze up to the ceiling. And then exhale, starting from the tailbone, rounding through the spine, drawing the chin into the chest. Inhale, dropping the belly down, chest moves forward, gaze comes up. And exhale, tucking in the tailbone, rounding through the spine. Inhale, dropping the belly down, gazing forward. And exhale, rounding the spine. So you can do this at your own pace, and you can take any other movement you want. Maybe once you get to your cow and cat pose, maybe taking the rib cage side to side, or maybe moving backwards and forward as you move through the pose. Or you can just keep with the traditional version, so whatever you feel called to, whatever you feel the body needs. What will be the most nourishing for you right now today? We'll do one more round of each. The last time, dropping the belly down, looking forward or up. And exhale, rounding, looking back to the thighs. Go back to a neutral spine. So now we're going to shift the shoulders forward of the hips, keeping that bum up in the air, exactly where it is. Then lower the shoulders down to meet the mat, so you're kissing the mat, and then shifting the whole torso forward until you come down onto the mat. So the hands are either side of the rib cage, the tops of the feet, the toes are pressing into the mat. We'll inhale, lift the chest, looking forward into cobra. So elbows are locked into the chest. We're going to exhale, press into the hands, send the hips back towards the heels, and we're going to come into child's pose. So you can rest the hips onto the heels. If they're nowhere near the heels, don't worry. Just letting the chest rest down towards the mat, letting the forehead come onto the mat. Now if the forehead doesn't reach the mat, you can grab that yoga block or cushion, place it under the forehead. Another really nice option is to stick the block between the heels and your bum, or a cushion between the heels and bum, just helping you release instead of feeling like you're maybe holding the bum up away from the heels. So whichever version that you're in, just taking a few breaths here. We'll do one more inhale. Now the exhale, we're going to lift back up through tabletop, tuck under the toes, send the hips back once again, and then lift the hips up to the ceiling into our first downward facing dog. So you can keep the knees nice and bent. We're pedaling out the legs, swaying the hips, whatever you feel. Trying to slow down the breath, so inhaling through the nose to the belly, and exhaling through the nose from the belly all the way out. And we'll come to stillness, so heels are reaching towards the mat. No worries if they don't touch the mat, just imagining they're reaching down through space into the ground. I'm going to lift the left foot up, bring the left knee towards the nose, step the foot between the hands, lowering the right knee down. And if the foot doesn't come the whole way, it's way back here, you can just lower that back knee and just shift the foot forward with the hand or shimmy it up, whichever way you can do it. We're going to lift the fingertips up, coming into a low lunge. So the knee is stacked over the ankle, pressing the back foot into the mat, the top of the foot into the ground. Inhaling here. Exhale, lower the hands down to frame the foot and stepping back to our downward facing dog. Inhaling here. Exhaling. We'll inhale to shift forward through plank, so shoulders coming over the wrists, reaching back through the heels, and exhale, lower knees. We're going to keep our bum lifted like we just did the last time, lowering the chest, the chin to the mat, and then scooping yourself forward. You're going to take the hands wide against the mat, so taking the hands wider than the mat on your fingertips, tops of the feet pressing into the ground. We're going to inhale to lift up through a wide armed cobra. We're going to exhale to lower down. We're going to do that again. Inhale, moving side to side as you lift up through your cobra, maybe taking a gaze to the left, a gaze to the right, and then exhale, snaking yourself back down to the mat. One last time, inhaling, you can choose either coming straight up or snaking side to side. Hips and tops of the feet are pressed into the mat. And exhale, folding back down to the mat. Take the hands back either side of the rib cage, tuck under the toes, pressing back to your downward facing dog. We'll take one inhale, one exhale. I'm going to lift the right leg up to the ceiling this time. Bring the right knee to the nose and stepping it forward between the hands, lowering the back knee. And again, if you need to, just lift up the foot with the right hand, scooching it to the top of the mat, and then lifting up the fingers, coming into your low lunge, relaxing the shoulders here. So you are reaching up through the hands, but you don't need to be lifting the shoulders up to the ears, really over efforting. See where you can soften. Notice what would be kinder to your body in this pose. While you're still working, getting the strength building in the legs, in the core. Where can it be a bit easier? We'll do one more inhale. Exhale, lower the hands down to frame the foot. You're tucking the back toe, lifting the back knee, and stepping back to your downward facing dog. We're going to inhale here. Exhale. And inhale to shift forward into plank. Going to lower the knees, keeping your bum lifted, lowering the chest and the chin down to the mat. And then scooping yourself forward, hands either side of the chest. Actually, sorry, this time we're keeping the arms alongside the body. We're going to bring the legs together, big toes touching. We're going to inhale to lift the chest, lift the toes, reaching back through fingers and toes. And exhale to lower down. Inhale, toes are touching as you lift them up, pointing them back, reaching back through the fingers to lift the chest. And exhale, lowering down. One last time, we'll hold it this time. So bring the feet together, palms of the hands facing the body. We'll inhale to lift up. And as we're exhaling, we're holding the pose, seeing can you lengthen the body through the fingers, through the toes. We'll do one more inhale. And we'll exhale to lower the whole way down. You can take the hands either side of the chest. Push yourself back, and you can either take child's pose or downward facing dog. So if you're taking child's pose, bringing the hips back to the heels, letting the head rest down. Arms are reaching out in front, elbows off the mat. Take a few breaths here. If you're in downward facing dog, your hips are reaching up to the ceiling, gazing back to the thighs. I'm going to do 2 more breaths. One more inhale. And as you exhale from downward dog, you're lowering the knees down, coming to a child's pose. So if you're in child's pose, you get to stay there a little bit longer. If you want, you can take the arms back alongside the legs so the fingers are reaching back to the toes. Just letting the shoulders roll down towards the mat. Noticing the breath. Taking your attention along the inhale and the exhale. Bring the arms back out in front, coming to a tabletop, tucking under the toes, coming to your downward facing dog once again, just for one round of breath. I'm going to bend the knees really deeply and start to slowly step the feet forward towards the hands. So the shoulders move forward over the hands as you step forward. Coming to a forward fold at the top of your mat. I'm going to inhale to lift halfway, hands coming onto the shins. And exhale, folding down. We'll inhale, pressing the feet into the mat, bringing the arms wide and overhead, palms to touch, looking up. And exhale the hands back to the heart. And release the hands down. I'm just going to fix my mat. It loves to slide around. We're going to stand in our mountain pose. So the feet are hip distance apart. Hands at either side of the legs, rolling the shoulders down the back. Take an inhale here. And exhaling. We're going to inhale, take the arms wide and overhead, palms to touch, looking up. And exhale, hinge at the hips, leading with the chest as you fold down. Keeping the legs straight here. Inhale to lift the hands onto the shins, gazing down to the mat. And exhale, folding down. And inhale, take the arms wide, bringing them overhead, palms to touch, gazing up. And exhaling the hands back to the heart. Inhale, take the arms wide and overhead, feeling that stretch through the side body as you're reaching up. And exhale, hinging at the hips, folding down. Inhale, lifting halfway, hands on the shins, spine parallel to the mat. And exhale to fold. Inhale, take the arms wide, overhead, gazing up. And exhaling the hands to the heart. We're going to do that 2 more times. So inhaling, arms wide and overhead. See, can you slow it down? Slow it down with the breath. Exhale, folding down. Inhale to lift halfway. And exhale to fold. Inhale, bring the arms wide and overhead, palms touching, gazing up. And exhale, the hands back to the heart. One last time. Inhale, arms come overhead. Notice if you feel any different as you go slower. Exhale, folding down. Maybe thoughts are different as you're going slower. Inhale, lifting halfway. And exhale, fold. This time we're going to stay here, just walking the hands forward. Sorry, that's just me, because I'm in the middle of my mat. If you're at the top of your mat, you're just walking the feet back to the back of your mat. Coming to downward facing dog. So bend the knees here, send the hips up to the ceiling. Really feel the length in the lower back. Then you can reach the heels down to the mat. The hands are really pressing into the mat to shift the shoulders towards the legs. You'll be feeling that deepen into the hamstrings as you do that. Maybe not, just noticing where you find the body is getting stretched, where it's feeling like it's getting strengthened. We'll do one more inhale. We'll exhale, lower the knees, taking the hips back to the heels. Once again, coming to our child's pose. So you can take whatever version you want. You can take it narrow leg, the arms out in front. If you want, you can take the arms alongside the body, hands to the feet. Or taking a wide leg version, so knees as wide as the mat. Walking the hands forward, lowering the chest. So just asking yourself, which will be most nourishing for me today? Which version is most needed? And just whatever the natural instinct or response is, going with that one. Whichever version you're in, just trying to notice the breath, noticing the pace of it. Notice if the pace changes the longer you're lying here or sitting here. We'll do 2 more breaths here. I'm going to take the arms out if they were behind you and start to walk the hands in, coming to a kneeling position. So if the knees are wide, you can bring the knees together. So you're kneeling on the heels. We're going to take the left hand onto the right knee. Take the right hand behind you. We're going to inhale to grow nice and tall through the spine. And we're exhaling, twisting to the right. So the feeling of the twist is coming from the belly first, then the rib cage, then the shoulders. And we'll just gaze to the side for the first few breaths. Inhaling to grow length through the spine. And exhaling, twisting, wringing a little deeper through the spine. Maybe taking the gaze over the back shoulder behind you. We'll do one more inhale. We'll exhale, unwind to face back to the front. And then our right hand comes over to left knee, left hand behind you. Inhaling as you look forward, reaching for the crown of the head. Exhaling, twisting to the left. Again, keeping the gaze to the side of the room to start. Be thinking you relax the shoulders even though you're twisting, working through them. Maybe taking the gaze to the back of the room. We'll do one more inhale. Exhale, return to face the front. You just come off the heels, so just dropping the hips to one side, bringing the legs out in front. Now here, if you have a yoga block or cushion, it might be really nice to sit up on, just to get a bit of nice alignment going in the hips as we come into cobbler pose. So we're taking the soles of the feet together, hands come onto the heels, sitting up again nice and tall through the spine, growing through the crown of the head. I'm going to inhale here. Exhale, reaching the heart, the chest forward. So you're keeping the spine straight here. We're not rounding the spine just yet. show you from the side. You're just reaching the chest forward. Feel like you're sending the hips back behind you. You'll feel this in the groins, even if you're not moving very far. I'll take one more inhale here. And you can exhale to round the spine down towards the feet. Maybe the elbows come onto the knees. Hands can come onto the feet, maybe wrapping them around the toes, or if you want to give the feet a little love, giving them a little massage. So whatever you think, again, will be most nourishing for you today. Letting the head, the shoulders be heavy. Do one more inhale, one more exhale. We'll inhale to lift the rounding, lifting the chest, looking forward, and exhale coming all the way back up. We'll bring the knees together if you're on a cushion or block, just taking that out from underneath you, keeping it nearby. Take the hands behind you, drop the knees side to side. And then just shimmying the toes up towards the top of the mat. And slowly taking the spine onto the mat, not too much effort, just letting yourself gently come down. And keep the knees pointed up to the ceiling, walking the feet towards your bum. And now if you have that block or cushion, grabbing a hold of that. Not grabbing a hold of it, having it beside you. We're going to take the arms alongside the body, press the feet into the mat. Press the shoulders down. We're going to inhale as we press our foundation down, and then lift the hips up to the ceiling, grab that cushion or block and slide it underneath the lower back, so just right above your bum. Now you can have it on the middle setting of the block, so it's on one of the narrow edges, or you can have it a bit lower, so it's on that larger face. So whichever is more comfortable, whichever you feel like you can release the lower back into it without overstraining anywhere else. And just let that block take your weight. Let the shoulders, the head be supported by the ground. There's no efforting, no pushing. Just letting yourself rest here. You can even close down the eyes. Just noticing how this pose feels. Noticing the breath. Maybe noticing the quality of the thoughts in the mind, or maybe noticing an absence of thoughts. Whichever it is, that's perfectly normal. Just taking note, observing, and seeing, can you take the attention back to the breath? We'll do 2 more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, press into the feet and the shoulders to lift the hips. So you can take out your cushion or block. And exhale, lowering yourself all the way onto the mat. Maybe dropping the knees side to side like we did at the start of the class. Bring the knees back to center, and now you can finish the way we started if you want, or you can come into Shavasana, so whichever you think would be super nice for you. So if you're taking it the same as the start, the feet are coming as wide as the mat, knees falling in together to touch, hands can rest on the belly or the hips. And if you're coming into Shavasana, which is corpse pose, you can extend the legs long, having a space between the legs, take the palms to face up to the ceiling with a space between the arms and the body. And whichever version you're in, you're just releasing all effort. You're closing the eyes. You're letting yourself sink down into the ground. Just letting yourself be here for a few moments. Just with yourself after having giving yourself some kindness, some nourishment, and some love. Just steeping in that here for a few moments. And gently bring your attention back into the space that you're in, becoming aware of sounds around you, feeling the contact points between you and the mat, and starting to wiggle the fingers and toes. If the knees are bent, maybe once again dropping them side to side. The legs are extended, maybe circling the wrists and ankles, bending through the elbows and knees. We'll reach the hands overhead, inhaling to take a full body stretch. And exhale to release, taking the knees into the chest. You can roll over to your right side, make a little cushion for the hand with the hands, and then pressing the hands into the mat, taking yourself back up to seated, so whatever way is comfortable for you. We'll just sit up nice and tall through the spine, closing down the eyes. Thanking yourself for clicking play on this video today, for taking some time out to nourish yourself, to love yourself, to give yourself just what you needed. We'll take our hands to prayer in front of the heart, bowing our head to our heart, our head and heart to our body, and bowing all of that down to the earth. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed this class. I hope you feel nourished and loved from yourself after doing it. Maybe you got some inspiration during your Shavasana or during the class of anything else that you might do to nourish yourself, or maybe that's something you might want to ask yourself as you continue in your day or your evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Something that you can do for yourself outside of your yoga practice to look after yourself. So I hope to see you next time. Click subscribe if you want to find out when the next video is out. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.